Um, so, Maddie, this is to you. How I escaped corporate forever. How I escaped corporate forever. So, this happened in November 2018. And look, until that stage, my life was going pretty well. I got good grades at school. When I got into the workforce, kept getting promotion. And by the time I was 31, I was the CEO of a tech startup in San Francisco. I was making $200,000 US every year, and life was just seemed so beautiful. But then when I was 35, it all came crashing down. The mobile tech bubble had bursted. I lost my job, I lost my visa, and I had to get out of USA. So I went back to Japan, and I felt like a failure. I was hurting. So I was really desperate to bounce back quick and bounce back hard. And I joined this tech startup in Japan. And I met the founder there, and he told me how innovative they are, how creative they are, and how dynamic this organization is, how they're going to change the world. And I was just so hurt and desperate at the time. I was like, oh, okay, man, I got to join this company. I'm going to join this company. It's my redemption, and I'm going to bounce back hard. So I joined this company, but it didn't take long for me to realize that it was just a sales company. Like, that was the sort of company that tracks how many cold calls you made, how many sales meetings you went to, and just numbers. They did like 5 sales meetings in a week. And wow, and they had this approval process that if you want to even propose any kind of little idea, you just had to get an approval from 7 people to get it done. And joining that company, it just started draining me. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? Only 2 years ago, I was in the same room as Mark Zuckerberg. Like, I was getting invitation from Facebook and Google, and I was having lunch with Andreessen Horowitz, people from Andreessen Horowitz. Only a few years ago, I felt so successful. And here I was in this tech company in Tokyo, making phone calls and going to appointments for something I didn't give a shit about. And it got to me. I already felt like a failure in San Francisco. The more and more that I started working in this place, I just felt more worthless, felt like a failure, and it just felt like I was wasting my potential. And this is when I started a bad habit, online gaming. That was my weapon of choice. It was my escape. I didn't want to face reality because reality just sucked. I was making cold calls. So to escape the reality, I went playing online games, League of Legends. I'd play until 2, 3 a.m. almost every night. And I'd get up at 7, sleep deprived, and go to work. And at work, I was just so unmotivated. I would go into the toilet 4, 5 times a day and watch YouTube. That were dark days for me. Like, looking back now, it's like I felt like my peripheral vision was gone. It was just dark around here, because I didn't want to face reality. It didn't feel like I was living. So, 2018, I hit rock bottom. I was hurting every day. And I was complaining every day as well. I would just complain at the company, everything. The executives, they didn't give a shit. They only give a shit about numbers. They say they want to change the world, but they don't. They only give a shit about numbers. They only talk about numbers. Because that's what happened. So I was bitching and whining every day at work. I was just one of those employees. And back then, I just didn't know how to get out of there. But one day it suddenly changed. November 2018, I think it was a Thursday morning, 11 a.m., we go into another sales meeting. And this sales meeting, I'd say 200-300 salespeople, all wearing suits. They're in front of me. Then maybe everyone's aged between 25 and 35. I was always at the back wearing jeans because I didn't give a shit. And I just sat at the back watching everyone. And the executives would come in and show numbers at the Excel sheet, really excited. Hey guys, well done guys. We hit this sales target this morning. Give yourselves a clap. Yeah, give yourselves a clap. And I was at the back, disgusted, like, yep, well done guys. It's not like our salary is going to change, because it didn't. Our salary just stayed the same, but we just kept breaking records, but our salary stayed the same. So I was at the back. What the fuck am I doing here? And usually, I would just sit there at the back and complain. But this day was different. I thought to myself, maybe they're excited because they're good at business. Maybe they were born to do business. Maybe that's why they get excited with numbers, because they're showing their talent. Maybe I'm not meant to be here. Maybe I'm meant to be somewhere else. That's why I'm here complaining. So for the first time, instead of pointing fingers, I looked inwards. I looked at myself. And I told myself, mate, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here doing business. I'm not supposed to be here doing sales work. There's somewhere else that I should be shining. And I made myself a promise that day, right that second actually, that I'll post something on Instagram every day before I start playing online game. And I did. Because I love football. That's my passion. So I posted something on Instagram about football every day. 6 weeks later, I had 3,000 followers. Unbelievable. And then after that, I just kept trying. I did Instagram, I did X, I did blog. I actually made 3 sports medias. Just kept going, alliterating, learning from my mistakes. Then a year after that day, December 2019, I started YouTube. And within a year, I was making enough money to leave corporate. So the reason why I'm telling you this story, as long as you're doing this, as long as you're blaming anyone but yourself, it can't change. That was my lesson. Back then I was blaming the executives, blaming the company, blaming the government. I was just pointing fingers. But that one morning, I stopped doing this and I start doing this. Focusing on me and what I can do. And my life changed. And since then, I've been a YouTuber for the last 5.5 years. My life is infinitely better than what it was back at corporate. So, if anyone wants to change their lives, they can. But if they do want to change it, stop blaming, stop complaining, stop pointing fingers, and start looking at yourself and start making action. And you can escape corporate. I did it. Why not you?